2, 3, 4, 5. Is that all it's gonna be?
Good to go.
All right. I'll call the December 18th DRB meeting to order. First is agenda changes. I don't have any. Next is review the minutes of December 4th.
It looked good to me.
I'll second that.
Oh, I would move to approve.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Next up is Mary Provencher, conditional use review for the expansion of a non-conforming structure located at 277 Upper Access Road. How you doing?
Fine, thank you, and yourself?
Good.
So let me put on this one here to introduce this.
Do you, well, okay. This is should I point that out?
Sure.
This is 277 Upper Access Road, and it's been in our family for 66 years. And so, you know, it was built by an old torn down church in Charlotte. And so that's basically, what you see is the property lines and the distances from the lake. I can't read those, but I hope you have them.
Yeah,
Yep.
And so,
It's within 75 feet of the lake.
yeah, that's 33, I think. 23? 23.
and what I want to tell you about
33 over
33.
here.
Yes.
Yep, 23 from,
It-
22 from boundary.
Oh, off the side, I
It's
see.
a particularly challenging lot, being that it's very steep and it's up on a ledge. And so with the whole property is like this, when you're walking around or trying to work on it or set up a ladder or do anything. Pretty challenging. But my first go was to just extend the roof over here. Well, so I've just purchased it probably a month and a half ago, maybe. So when we wanted to see how structurally bad it was. And so we went in and ripped out a lot of the sheetrock. It was, moldy sheetrock. It was a total mess. And old insulation. And found that the whole front window was broken and a lot of rot there. And then there's an open space underneath. And so we thought, oh, well, let's just go through and make this so that you can actually have an egress. And, because the windows are like this high, because the roof line went down. And so let's just expand out over that roof. And I went there with a couple of different carpenters who looked at it with me, and everybody got excited about it. But my friend Jimmy, who's a contractor, we just went on Saturday, because he's been blowing me off for a couple of weeks, or I would have done it sooner. But next Saturday, he's like, oh, well, you really, the bedroom starts right about there, 9 feet in. The cheapest way is to take this all out and make it the same as the downstairs, so you can have full windows. And he's, standing up in there. Of course, he's taller than I am, and he's found the slope a little bit. So he said, why don't we move the whole roof up 4 feet? And I said, well, I've already got my zoning stuff in. He said, just go ask him. That's basically how I got here. So I know this is kind of not my original proposal, but that's...
I'll just clarify first though. You're proposing to add a 10 by 23 addition over here,
Right,
over the existing porch that happens to be.
right.
You're not increasing the footprint on this,
No,
not decreasing any of the setbacks that happen to be here. And what you're proposing is that, and to be able to raise at least a portion, and if you're going to raise a portion, you might as well be able to raise the entire thing, increase the roof height by about 4 feet.
exactly. Because it needs a new roof anyway, so.
So I had a question. You submitted some photos.
Yes.
Could we go to those, Mitch, just to orient
Sure.
and then I take it there's some examples generally of what you're intending to do? Is that what some of the houses were? Some of the
Not
structures?
example.
Because there were
Well,
two photos it looked like that were different. I was kind of confused as to which structures we're looking at.
All right, well, actually, maybe you might want to start
So that
with...
these ones?
Right, maybe you might want to start with,
So they're all your property?
All right,
No.
here it is.
Okay.
This is the,
Camp. 277.
So there's a shed roof on the front and just a regular gable just in behind. We see the top of that just.
That's the porch that you want to go
Oh,
up.
I see.
So this is what you're gonna replace?
Yeah.
Okay, this is you.
And you can just see the peak, so
Yeah.
the
You
can see
the
the
idea is
peak
you
up there.
continue the roof line.
Yeah.
Yes, out over the front.
Only now that roof line is gonna be elevated 4 feet above where it is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So no footprint increase. This porch, which I presume is not conditioned space, would become fully foundated.
Are you saying right here?
It would have a foundation.
That already has a foundation, believe
Okay,
it or not.
so really you're just building that up.
But building up and out. Yes, there's, when you walk in, the upstairs,
Yep.
you know, it's got like really itty bitty walls, framing, which don't really do anything, so he said, like, rip it out, take this all off, because it's not gonna make any difference whatsoever in the
Yeah.
cost. It'd probably be cheaper just to rip it out. But then you'll have, see, when you walk in to the camp on the downstairs, it's a beautiful view, and you could actually have that same view upstairs.
Okay, so.
And have actually some room, and now the upstairs is pretty small because, or should I just keep? Okay, so, you know, when it was built, not a lot of things are in code, and there's a lot of 24-inch spacing with the old 2x4s on the roof, and it's really quite something. What was I gonna say about that? So also, when you go upstairs, the stairs are so steep, and they're, you know, you hit your head
Yep.
to this floor here, they're way out of code. I mean, you could never rent it out without somebody killing themselves, and you know, the stairs need to come out differently, and when you get to the top of the stairs, there's no landing, you have to like open a door and lean back
Yeah.
to get into the upstairs. So the whole upstairs really does need to be configured,
you're doing a whole interior renovation as well.
pretty much,
Okay.
on the second floor.
But in essence, if the roof currently in the back, that back portion is like this, you're just elevating it 4 feet. The
You're
pitch
right.
is staying the same?
Yes.
And then you're extruding that roof forward to cover that
Yes,
porch? Okay.
thank you.
And is there, I take it there's storage, it looks like underneath, there's not
Yes.
living space underneath there, that must be storage or
That's a pretty awful,
a dungeon.
yeah, muddy. It's more like the, you know, somehow the water. There used to be a big, huge part of the deck got taken off because there was this enormous pine tree that came down, and they had to take part of it apart to get that big tree down. And when they did that, the roots take a lot of moisture out of a basement.
Huh.
And so it really turned into a really muddy mess under there. So that sort of has to be cleaned out a bit too.
I mean, I don't know if we can ask, but do you have good foundation to take the extra load, I presume?
Well, my carpenters and the people, one of them has an engineering degree, so they think so.
If you're willing to go for it.
It's not really a zoning.
Right, no, I'm just,
I mean,
Raising the
I'm a
question.
little, you know,
Isn't it a occupation, before you can move into a house, doesn't it have to be a CO, isn't,
Yeah, but we don't check for that.
Not,
Well,
not
here-
not in Vermont, I don't think.
okay.
Any license?
Burlington and Colchester, and I think there's one town down south that does that, but no.
there is quite a bit of cement. This is all cement right there, and it was poured.
Okay.
But is it great? Jimmy, my carpenter, was saying, well, when we get some of this roof off, that'd be a time to jack up the place and
Yeah.
check that out a little bit. But, you know, at this point, now I'm like, you know, we might reach a point where we don't do any of this, you know what I mean? It's kind of a can of worms,
Yeah.
if you were to look at it carefully. All these windows are a little bit fragile.
I mean, the other option is, once you have that space, you could tear the whole thing down and then build it to what you'd get an approval for here.
Right. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, you know. You have these ideas that you're just gonna fix it up. And then all of a sudden you go, whoa.
So I'm guessing the porch area is not livable space right now, it's just a porch,
It is,
although it's enclosed.
It really
It's
is
not
camp
finished
anyway,
floor
so
area.
it's,
Right.
Seasonal.
It's not a year-round structure.
Well, actually, it's true, it's a camp anyway.
Yeah.
well, people have lived there year round.
Oh, yeah?
For years.
Oh, really?
Yes, my sister bought it one time and lived there for
Good.
a couple of winters,
So-
and then my mother actually rented it out to a bunch of college students once.
Oh, my
So
God.
that is a
That
mistake.
she knew, and then they lived there.
Okay.
So I guess
It's
two-part
ins-
question.
Was I gonna say it was insulated?
It is insulated.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And
But
there's
this
electricity,
application,
so
this is a
like-
camp, and it's
But this is
remaining
a
camp,
camp.
and it's remaining a camp.
In its remaining camp, yeah. There's the septic, everything would have to be rethought, I think, if it were to go otherwise.
So
So
you can look at it
from a reg perspective, my understanding, when we talked about expansions, not going beyond the first floor level, I didn't think we counted porches in that. I thought we counted living space in that area.
I don't
We
think that
include
that's
decks, so you could, somebody, if they just had a flat deck, not even an enclosed deck, they would still be able to include that in their footprint and build up.
I think it's part of the footprint, because that deck, if you built new, that deck has to be full setback from the,
Right,
from
and
the water,
okay.
so.
But it's not living space, and I didn't
No,
know.
but it's part of the footprint, not.
Okay,
So,
Yeah,
So it's really a question of, she's asking volumetrically. I mean, a lot of this, in terms of setbacks, doesn't conform. What's our precedent for increases in, quote, building volume in a non-conforming circumstance like this? Have we, I don't know, have we given approvals? I know how
Yeah,
difficult this is in
yeah.
other towns. I'll
so
tell you.
I think one of the things is to look at, height, even though it's well less than
Yep.
the 35 feet, there's usually, is there any uphill, by adding that 4 feet? Are you,
Blocking someone else's
blocking
view.
someone else's view, even though that's not an official reg, blocking views? But
What's your
we-
design?
We are not, because the land goes up a hill way in the back.
okay, and it
And
less,
there is a house up in the back, but it is way above,
okay,
looking
so
down.
4 feet is not gonna,
4 feet would not even.
Okay.
okay,
And I wanted to also add that this roof line is insulated too. So, off the bedroom upstairs, when you look out into that space, that storage space, there's insulation all in there, under the
Yeah.
rafters. But,
Yeah, our main concern is really just about the increase in volume.
Right,
yep,
It has nothing, unfortunately, the condition of the property is your
right.
okay.
issue.
My problem.
Well, we have sympathy, we give that out, but
Okay.
it's,
As long as it doesn't hinder.
and we've done it ourselves. Yeah. For ourselves.
Actually, I think what really helps is probably this picture and this picture. You might want to just point out your,
Topography behind.
Well, there was that little cedar, can I see
Yeah.
that first one
Sure.
again?
Is that kind of the example?
Okay, this is the water line, this was a
Yeah.
camp, and it's right on the water, and that's low. So there's nothing back there. This one is, the wood and part of that house comes all the way down to
Oh.
here, and they actually have quite a bit of
Mhm.
land here. And we're the next one up here, you can sort of see that
Oh.
little bit of a
Yeah.
roof line,
Okay,
but we're up on a little bit,
so you're set back further than those
we're set
two.
back further than they are, and our neighbor here, their roof line goes up higher, but in the back,
Okay.
and nobody's behind there either, and these guys have a deck that comes all the way to here. Now, the last house over here has like
actually, let me show you.
a higher roof line,
Oh, way down there.
but the building is all the way right down to the water, even though it starts way back there. And it has this kind of a modern kind of thing that goes up. And speaking, no, never mind, I won't get into that, but, so
I
that's,
don't see a problem
So the
with
board
this.
members have any
Has there been any comments received from neighbors?
I
Any
actually,
concerns?
I did call my neighbors, the Kilkennys, and the people on this house, Mark, and their only concern was, can you do the work before summer? Because we rent our places out, and it wouldn't be
Sure.
great to have, and they wanna come up and use it in the summertime.
Yeah.
And I said I would really like to do that myself, you know, try to.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's, you know, pretty much everybody knows everybody in the neighborhood and they've
So
already
we-
come.
We have a draft decision. It would have to be amended.
Yeah, we can do that. If you want to try to do it now, we could. Or we could just simply amend it on January 15th. Your choice. Be kind of nice if we can do it now, then you're really starting 2019, completely open.
I think it's a simple fix.
So I just want you to know that I will not have white windows sticking out, and it's green, you can hardly see our camp, it's so blended in, so I'm not one to want to make any kind of ostentatious statement.
So really, Mitch, is it just the conclusion one that we have
Yeah, it
to
looks
amend?
like our number, well, finding of fact two, you want to explain that,
Yeah.
and raise the roof line 4 feet,
Mhm.
right?
All right, I can put in there a comment that basically says, raise the roof 4 feet,
Yep,
You wanna say entire roof? Just so it's
the
clear.
entire roof.
We could also point out that boulder in the back of the house, there's. I'm going too
Raise the
far.
entire roof uniformly 4 feet.
Including the extension.
Including the front, the lakeside
The new
porch.
section.
yeah.
Existing and extension.
So on conclusion one, you want to say, although the proposed addition will increase the volume and the height of the building, well, no, oops,
Yeah.
will increase the volume of the building in the setback area and the height. It will not change the setback distances.
Right. Sure, and the height.
Mm-hmm.
Not to inverse impact. Same character. Nothing changes in the orders.
Well, then the order number one though, says the addition, the roof height of the addition shall be no greater than the existing roof height. So that needs to
Shall be
change.
no more greater than
4 feet above.
4 feet above.
Existing roof height. Good eye. Yeah. I don't think we've moved to close the public hearing, but I would move to close the public hearing and approve the draft written, whatever, decision
Draft
as amended.
Second.
Any more discussion? There's nobody here from the public, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 There you go.
Thank you.
Approval, and
Yes,
to get
thank you
this,
so much.
in, what was that?
Thank you so much, Michael. For your,
Mitchell.
Mitchell,
Thank you.
did that twice now. So,
You're done. You're good. Thank you.
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good
Nice
day.
holiday.
good luck with your project.
Yeah.
Jack it up carefully.
I was really excited for a while now. I'm like, oh my God,
Reality.
what have I done?
It's okay, the banks have plenty of money.
I know, that's the problem. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
All right, we'll move to other business.
You have 2 draft decisions. Just FYI, Greg did tell me that he voted to approve these two draft decisions as written.
Okay.
Let's see, so we're looking at Morton and Paul first.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, so there was one question in number 6, what is that, order number 6? About whether or not for the, I'm assuming you're talking about for the smaller lot
yes.
1 building envelope, should we allow some clearing outside of that? And I'm guessing that's because it is such a small building envelope.
Yeah.
Wait, the barn part?
No, on the original,
Oh, across the way.
where it's jammed up against the
I
property
can-
line.
I can show you a picture of that if you like.
They would have limitations to do anything significant, right, given the environmental
Because you can't clear in the
slope, topography.
You've got steep this is one area where it's, the slopes aren't too bad,
Okay.
and much of it is already cleared.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, looking at, let me just,
Yeah, pull it up.
Because they can't clear in the stream setback, right?
let's see,
That's why I just didn't know whether the physical topography, but lot 1 now
This is
includes
the wrong
that
one.
triangle inside the roads too? I forget how the parcels ended up.
Wait a second. Why does that say Morton? All right, that doesn't seem like the right one. Give me one moment.
You can almost see it there, right?
Yeah, but something didn't look right.
Is it my glasses or is this thing just out of focus?
Yeah, it's out of focus.
It's,
All right, we
I'm
can
gonna
fix
have to go
that.
back to the alcohol.
I was just there.
better?
A little better.
Yep. It's there.
It's like being the ophthalmologist. Is this better or that better?
Yeah, right. Here or here?
I hate that game.
Here or
Here,
here?
let me show you on this one. This might be
I
easier to
really
see.
hated this as a kid.
Slow down, I'm 3 back.
It was a test that I was failing or something. I was like,
All right, they had a little error on this, which they need to pull this back about, to about right over here. But it's really a very tiny, like 30 by maybe 60 type building envelope.
so if they pull the building envelope back, is the house shown in the wrong position?
The house is shown in the right position, it's just that the setback, they made an error, and that was one of the comments. This is only about 50 feet from the
Okay.
setback distance, and
What's it supposed to be?
it's supposed to be 60. But maybe it is better to show it to you on this.
Why?
That's from the
That
center
really
line.
is tight. I didn't realize it was so tight back there.
Yeah, and
Oh, but it's pre-existing, right?
Right.
So-
that's
so,
the thing, it's a
yeah,
pre-existing,
fine. Yeah.
But it didn't have a building envelope before, so
Right.
we're telling them to add it.
Right.
And then we're also saying you can only clear within your building envelopes.
but
So we should enlarge it? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, just-
Or just
that's
allow a
all.
little clearing outside the building envelope.
that was
not,
the idea.
Not change the building envelope.
How do we state a little clearing?
Well, I
Well-
was just simply suggesting that they can clear up to 50 feet beyond the building envelope.
Is that all forested around that house now, or not?
Actually, there's the area that's over here is cleared, the forest is kind of like in here. And you also have the stream that's down here, that's what kind of bounds it on this side. The proposed wastewater system and this wastewater system that's,
Well, that's gonna be cleared anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna have to
Yeah.
clear potentially
Right.
to it and around it.
Yeah, right.
yes, that's why I was thinking, and when I looked at this and thought of how this was actually gonna function, do we wanna limit them to clearing in that particular area? Or do we wanna provide an additional allowance to do something a little more? Just a thought, when I looked at it, it was,
To me, it feels a little bit forced upon them. Do they come back and ask for clearing for their wastewater system eventually in the future? Is that?
well,
What would be
we
typical?
could write this, which, like the other one, that the clearing allows for the building envelope and to get the utilities, wastewater systems and so forth, which would probably, and access, but access is literally this tiny little area over here. I was just thinking, do we want to add a little something more, or just, the other possibility is we could put a clearing limit on lot 2 and not necessarily put one on lot 1. But you have this whole area over here is very forested.
What is that triangular area?
This right here,
Yeah.
that's the building envelope.
Oh, it didn't look like that on the other drawing you just showed us.
Right, because they didn't put the 60-foot distance from here to here.
So is that the correct one?
That's the correct one.
Okay.
Now with lot 1 also now includes that bottom triangle.
Correct.
So that's why we either want
Includes that bottom triangle.
to across the.
Oh,
below the
right,
road.
right.
Mhm.
Seems like a very awkward building envelope
Yeah.
to me. And I don't quite
Well,
understand.
is it because of setbacks that's the way it's shaped?
Part of it is setbacks, a lot of it is setbacks. You also have a stream that is over here.
Right. So it's okay to have the septic system within the setback?
Yes,
It is?
Mhm.
Oh.
although actually, wait a second, this,
Or is that the setback line?
actually, here's the stream, and I think the setback line is to the
That's purple.
stream a little.
Doesn't the
fur-
toe of the field have to be so many feet away?
Not so.
Yeah,
Is that purple line, is that the stream?
no, actually, the property line is on the stream.
Okay.
That purple line must be some buffer. It
Yeah.
has that line dot.
Actually, I think
Well,
that
buffer.
might be the top of slope, and then it comes back 75 feet.
Why do we make pre-existing houses have to put a building envelope around them?
You don't necessarily have to. We did that as a
I don't agree
guidance.
with it, but
We did that as guidance.
I mean, what are they gonna do, right? They're so,
it'd be pretty fun to put a building envelope around mine. It'd be a big one.
to me, it just
I
feels
just don't-
like,
I mean, maybe here,
Well, it's
but
such a constrained lot, I think that's,
yeah.
maybe here it does make sense,
Right.
but I think some areas we're using building envelopes more than we should be.
Well, it seems as if the
Because it's
existing,
not, we're not supposed to,
Actually, I think it is in the regs, if I remember right, that you are supposed to
it's
try
what?
to do that. I believe it is in the regs that you are supposed to try to create these type of building envelopes on existing lots, but something that makes sense.
when it's part of a subdivision.
Right. And the other thing is we've been, what has been the practice is to try to provide as much space as possible. But this is just kind of an oddity, this particular property, how constrained it happens to be. And it would be even more constrained if they didn't have that variance from so many years ago.
But building envelopes are supposed to be used to keep you out of areas that you shouldn't be building in.
Right.
And you have steep slopes that go further in there. You have,
Right, but I'm guessing there's more space on that land to build than that little tiny building envelope.
actually not really. It's kind of, there's so many different things going on over there. And
Because
plus,
if the purple is really the stream top of bank,
yeah.
then and you're 75 feet from the top of bank,
And so it comes over to that particular area.
that's what shapes that triangle.
Right, but
Yeah.
a building, you wouldn't even need a building envelope, just zoning would keep you from building there.
Right.
So we didn't,
You know what I mean?
So we asked them to put a
if you
building
followed it
envelope.
all, yeah.
We asked them to put a building envelope on here, and they did. We didn't specify what size it was.
Yeah.
So there's constraints that they decided that that's the building envelope that they can live with.
So right of it.
Right?
Yeah.
I just foresee them coming back wanting
Oh, it
to
could
be
be.
bigger.
Could be.
I suppose, but
But they might not be able to.
But you know, it was a little uncomfortable last time when they stated that you told us to go make the building envelope bigger. That's not exactly what we did. We don't direct people to make bigger building envelopes. We say, you might want to think about. So they were presenting it like we had told them that they had to go do that. And that's not the way I recollect it at all, and if it was, we should make sure that we don't give people that impression, because that's not what we do. We ask people to make building envelopes that make sense and don't unnecessarily large amounts of clearing, especially when in a existing area where there's other houses and whatever, and anyways, we gotta be careful about that.
But you can still do clearing outside of the building envelope
Oh, yeah.
if you don't say that they can't clear.
Right, right. If there's no, so in this case,
I mean,
on this lot, except for, the stream setback, I don't know that I have a problem not requiring them just to be able to clear in that building envelope. On the other one, the building envelope really is more to give them we give them an acre building envelope, right, is what we decided. And it's also to keep the area forested around it, because it's a totally forested area right now. So,
I mean, you would have to tell them that they can't. There's
right.
clearing limits.
Yep. So I wouldn't have any problem not putting the clearing
so we could do.
Constraint.
on this
lot
out-
one.
So
on
what
lot
we
one.
could do
right.
here is say forest clearing on lot 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Say it like that, to that point here.
That leaves it up to the site on lot 1 to dictate where
yep.
And then we'll say here.
applicable clearing.
How about this? The area within the stream setback shall not be cleared.
Sure.
Shall not be
On lot.
cleared except for utility, required utility.
Well, we have a boilerplate thing, don't we? Dead trees.
Well, so it's not cleared.
Cleared,
You
yeah.
can
Manage
you
it.
can manage it, but you're not supposed to clear it. And
Right.
and I mean, isn't that generally the rule anyway, that you don't clear in the stream setbacks?
And steep
Not that
slopes.
people
Steep slopes.
know that.
Right.
Um,
So that's why, do we have to
It's
go
still-
into
it's still a
that
good thing to
level
say.
of
Okay.
detail?
It's still
Well,
a good thing.
you could still clear a steep slope or in a stream setback. We don't have regulations that stop people from doing that.
I thought you weren't allowed to work in a stream setback, period.
In the village area, you can't. In the outside of the village area, you can't build any structures in a stream setback.
Okay.
So.
So can we amend this to say, in lot 1, prohibit clearing within the stream buffer and steep slopes
Yeah.
in excess of what, 15%, whatever it is, steep slope?
Because let me grab this other thing and show you what this looks like. Wait, wrong one. Where is this?
Still a little bit.
Let me go over here. Yeah, I mean, this is what we have listed here as the stream setback. Yeah, actually, if you said 15%, you should be able to have this particular area out over here.
Right. Yep,
Sounds reasonable.
yep.
We can clear
The
for
only
the
thing
septic.
is that you do have a stream
Yeah, I
setback in
think
the
they have to, right?
front.
If it's
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's
So-
leach field
Keep
or
it
it's
cleared, yeah.
How about,
or
how about
valve
we say
system.
the stream setback along the northwest property line?
Right.
So we're not.
Not
we're
that southern boundary.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because that's actually already cleared.
Okay. Sold.
Anybody have any other questions?
Did we hear from the fire chief, one widened point was sufficient?
Actually, didn't we talk to him at preliminary, if I remember right?
Because
Or
last meeting that we had on this, there was a concept of 2 pull-offs. And I think we had discussed and said that
Actually-
we thought that maybe we remembered just one
Yeah.
at the driveway.
Yeah,
So if that was,
that's basically
From
what they
emergency
did.
to-
They basically said that they
Right.
provided one.
yeah. But I guess I had suggested at the last meeting that we confirm that that was not creating an adverse emergency safety risk.
John said he was comfortable with that as long as the fire chief is.
Thank you.
All right, I guess I didn't follow up on that.
So I don't know whether that's, do we put that on them in here? You have it pretty clear that the engineer needs to sign off on the road base and design. Can we just say that they have some proof that the fire chief is okay? I mean, I don't want to be overly, there was that back and forth on these two driveways or 2 passing zones, so Just want to be clear.
We could add something like that. The only thing that we would then need to do is, if we have an order, we'll just need to have some type of conclusion that,
Well, so in order number 4, that's where you described that the licensed contractor, comma, surveyor, comma, engineer or designer verifies that the width and pull-off are as described. Do you think we need to add that extra verification? I'm okay, not if, it just seems like it, common sense prevail here, that it seems like it would be okay. But
yeah. John, what do you think?
I think it's okay.
I mean, I guess 2.4, you could just add a D that the fire chief signs off a single pull-off is sufficient.
I'm okay not. Just didn't know if there had been any discussion, so. All right. Otherwise, I'm good.
Board members have any other questions? We have a motion, I'm abstaining from this one, so.
Oh,
Then we didn't amend this, right? I move that we approve the
We did,
draft decision.
we did amend about the clearing and stuff.
Oh, right.
yeah.
Then I move that we adopt the decision with amendments.
Second?
Any
All those in
questions?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye, by the way.
You got enough for that, Mitch?
Yeah.
All right, up next is Foam Brewers LLC site plan review.
It's for Fridays only at this point, right?
Yep, I think that's what I said. So I guess my only suggestion under findings of fact 4 is the very last sentence where it says the only proposed change is the use period. The change would be in the required parking. So that sounds like 2 changes. We're just talking
Actually,
about
it's not a,
change in the use and it's change in the parking. So my suggestion would be the only proposed change is the use and the required parking.
Yep.
good pickup.
I guess that was all I had on this one. I3 zoning district is industrial 3.
I3, yes.
Okay.
I think it says it earlier on in the, in
Okay.
finding of fact 3, it says the I3.
Okay. Got it.
Weren't you looking also for signs to be put up for no parking? Or were you gonna let the zoning administrator take care of that?
Yeah.
The direction.
So there
we
is
have the
mention of
direction.
sign to point to the gravel parking lot, but.
Right, but I guess
nothing
people
else
are
about
parking where they're not supposed to
Yeah,
be.
that's,
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was-
that's enforcement.
That's
Yeah.
enforcement. We decided.
So you don't have to state in here that driveway must be kept
That
clear.
goes to the
Okay.
landlord, because
Yeah.
that applies
Yeah.
to everybody, not
It was,
just.
it was mentioned that there's a potential issue.
Right.
Yeah,
Actually, it was mentioned in the minutes that there were, did we say something in findings of fact about issues parking along there?
I think it was just in the minutes.
Okay, well, maybe just thinking of minutes.
yeah, because it was one of these things, which way do you, there's really nothing to,
It doesn't really belong here, right?
Right.
It's a existing situation that this isn't addressing, not
The use is
changing.
permitted, it's not
Right, so
enforcing.
it's how it's being enforced, so,
right,
okay.
because there's plenty of, according to them, there's plenty of parking in the gravel parking area.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Actually,
people
the
just don't know that's there, and of course,
Right.
no one wants to walk any further than they have to.
I'm surprised with all the other parking though, that they're parking out on the outside of the islands.
I know.
Unless the other lots are all
Well,
full at the
sometimes
time.
you have to get like 3 rows down, you know, it's not as close.
Not used to that.
See, actually, if you put in like a totally zone type sign over there,
Yeah,
Get some business.
Well, I mean, it looks like a parking. I mean, it's not a known street. Someday it will be.
that's right, and it's really wide, I mean, it seems like it's pretty wide.
And
So you
so-
think that, oh, well, but, you know,
Lord knows there isn't a lot of striping there, so,
right.
so I, well, give people a break, but
it may also be one of these things in which maybe it isn't enforceable, maybe it was an oversight that we had.
No, I think some signs would keep people from parking,
Yeah.
especially if you said tollways.
maybe if you put some double yellow striping down the middle of it so that it looks like a street,
Which way around, yeah.
somebody might get the idea.
Board members have
And
any
no
other
on-street, and well, that would be the sign, no on-street parking. And then so they'd be saying, where's the street? And it's like, well, they'll figure out where the street is.
Needs a private road name. All right, we can work on that.
Okay.
We do state somewhere if there's any issues with noise or people picking up.
So I have a question. I was a member of the public on this one, so I'm not commenting at all, right? And there's no way now to comment?
Right.
Actually, no, you can't.
Okay. That's the problem.
So we'll make a motion to approve the draft as written,
Well, as amended.
as amended.
Slightly amended.
Dick.
Yep. I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And abstain.
So we had 4 votes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just let you know, as far as you do not, I'll remind you, you do not have a meeting in 2 weeks because it's January 1st.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
The January 15th meeting, we already have 2 applications, a flood hazard application and a, what's the other one? And a change of a non-conforming use to another non-conforming use application, which is a little different, and we're probably gonna have at least one more. I have a subdivision revision that wants to get in, and one other, which I can't think of right now. So we've got that. The January 15th meeting will also be the reorganizational meeting, so we have the annual votes for, chair, vice chair, secretary, etc. And in absentia here, I'd like to thank Andy Greenberg for his service, and Ralph, thank you for...
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, Keep up the good work.
All right, move to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Yep. We're off.